The term animals refers to a diverse group of multicellular organisms belonging to the kingdom Animalia. Animals are characterized by their ability to move, typically with muscles. They consume other organisms for nutrition. Various animals can pose a threat to crops, causing damage that can result in significant economic losses for farmers. The types of animals that can affect crops vary depending on the region and the specific crops being grown. Here are some common animals, their damage and preventive measures to protect crops. Deer usually browse branches less than 1 inch in diameter. Male deer will damage or shred the bark of small trees by rubbing their antlers to remove the velvet during the fall breeding season. Install sturdy fencing around the crop area is the most effective long-term solution to deer damage. Use deterrents like motion-activated lights or gadgets that produce noise. Repellents and scent deterrents may also be effective. Plant less attractive border plants such as coleus around the crop area. Some of the most threatened crop varieties when it comes to wild boar are soybeans, cotton, peanuts, rapeseeds, corn, sugar beet, strawberries, and pastures. Besides burrowing in fields and pasture, wild pigs damage crops, fields, and pastures by rooting up planted seeds, eating young seedlings, and trampling established crops. Wild boars and pigs can damage agricultural crops by wallowing, which damages plant roots and creates holes that can damage farm equipment. Erecting sturdy and appropriate fencing around the farm is one of the most effective ways to keep wild boar out. Eliminating wild pigs is often accomplished through the process of trapping, use of traps such as box traps and corral traps. Rabbits damage woody plants by gnawing bark or clipping off branches, stems, and buds. During the growing season, they consume succulent green vegetation including flowers, vegetables, and crops. Trees and shrubs are completely girdled. Construct 24-inch high fences with bases secured to the ground to protect gardens and shrubs from rabbits. The practice of trapping, which involves using devices like box traps and cage traps, is frequently used to eradicate rabbits. Spray some repellents like tiram, ammonium soaps, capsaicin, putrescent eggs, coyote urine, garlic oil to control rabbit population in vegetation. Place cylinders made from hardware cloth to protect fruit trees and ornamental plants. Rodents store the food material in their burrows, chewing on seeds, stems, and roots. The extensive burrowing leading to soil erosion, damage to water channels and dams. They eat, deteriorate, and infect the grains that have been kept and the harvested crops in threshing floors. Rodents cause structural damage to stores' godowns. Set up traps or use bait stations strategically to control rodent population. Remove hiding spots and debris around fields. Attract natural predators like owls to control rodent populations. Proper waste management to reduce food sources to rodents. Birds' damage starts from the milky stage and continues till harvest. These consumes on an average of 152 seeds per day. The pigeons and crows inflict the damage at the germination and seedling stages. The birds pick up the seed from the field after the post-sowing irrigation and feed on the soaked seeds which were in the process of germination. They also pluck out on the developing young seedlings. Use bird netting to physically block access to crops. Planting sacrificial crops to divert birds. Scarecrow, device posted on cultivated ground to deter birds or other animals from eating or otherwise disturbing seeds, shoots, and fruit. Habitat manipulation involves removing nesting and feeding sites or food and shelter from the preferred habitats of harmful birds. Methods of bird control include physical deterrents, visual deterrents, multisensory deterrents, sonic devices. Trained birds of prey, chemicals, contraceptives, and active barriers. Chewing insects like caterpillars consume leaves, stems, and fruits. Sucking insects such as aphids, mites extract plant juices, leading to wilting and discoloration. Boring insects like borers tunnel into stems or fruits, causing structural damage. To control insects, introduce natural predators like ladybugs, parasitic wasps, or predatory beetles. Use companion planting, crop rotation, and maintaining plant health. Choose insect-resistant crop varieties bred for resistance. Use selective pesticides only when necessary that target specific pests. Elephant causes major destructions to crops by uprooting the plants and plucking the produce from the field. Elephants can trample crops while moving through fields, leading to damage to plants and soil. Elephants may consume standing crops, leading to direct loss and reduced yields. Rice, maize, sugarcane, vegetables, potatoes, carrots, cassava, bananas, and fruits are some of the crop varieties that pose the greatest threat to elephant. Install sturdy electric fences around crop fields to deter elephants. Dug trenches around fields can act as physical barriers to discourage elephants. Stringing chili-infused ropes or creating chili barriers can deter elephants due to their sensitivity to the spice. Hanging beehives around the perimeter of fields can deter elephants as they are known to be afraid of bees. Establish buffer zones between agricultural areas and elephant habitats to reduce direct contact. Implement technology-driven early warning systems using GPS that can detect elephant presence, movements, and alert communities. Monkeys may enter fields and raid crops, leading to widespread damage. Fruits, vegetables, and other crops are frequently eaten by monkeys straight off the plant, which results in yield reduction and direct loss. When traveling over fields, monkeys have the potential to step on crops, causing harm to the plants and soil. Install physical barriers such as netting or fencing around crop areas to prevent monkeys from accessing plants. Use scarecrows and colorful moving objects, reflective materials, like CDs or aluminum foil strips in fields to startle and deter monkeys. Noise-making devices or motion-activated alarms and ultrasonic repellent devices are used to scare off monkeys. Spraying crops with commercial or homemade repellents such as diluted chili solution will deter monkeys. Trimming the branches of trees that serves as access points for monkeys to deter their entry into fields. Venomous snakes can pose a threat to farmers, livestock, and poultry. Reduce sources of food including populations of rodents, fish, and invertebrates. Keep vegetation closely mowed and alter sites that provide habitat and protected basking locations. Remove bushes, shrubs, rocks, boards, firewood, and debris lying close to the ground. Install snake-proof fence around the crop area. Use funnel traps, pitfall traps with drift fences and glueboard traps to capture snakes in and around the field. Squirrels may eat fruits, nuts, and seeds directly from trees or plants. Squirrels may strip bark from trees, especially in winter, which can harm the tree. Squirrels may dig up and consume seeds, bulbs, or young plants. Use fine mesh netting or fencing to protect plants and trees. Wrap tree trunks with metal sheeting to prevent bark stripping. Use visual deterrents like scarecrows and devices that make noise or movement when triggered by squirrels in garden. Trim branches and eliminate places where squirrels might build nests and make easy access to crops. Squirrels are sensitive to spicy odors, so applying hot pepper sprays can be effective. Place protective bags over fruits on trees to prevent access by squirrels. Nilgai may graze on crops, consuming leaves, stems, and other plant parts. Its damage in crop fields can be identified by signs of hoof marks, crop damage, the presence of fecal pellets, uprooted plants. Nilgai, being large and heavy, can trample on crops, leading to damage to plants and soil. Various crops such as wheat, rice, sugarcane, vegetables, young plants, and crops with low-lying vegetation are highly affected by nilgai. Damage to wheat, gram, and mustard crops was caused not only by foraging but also through trampling, resting in field and daily movement of the animals. Introduce guard animals like dogs to deter nilgai from entering crop areas. Establish buffer zones or green belts between agricultural areas and nilgai habitats. Use physical barriers like nets or mesh for vulnerable crops. Plant thorny bushes or hedges around the perimeter of fields to discourage nilgai entry. Indian porcupine is a large rodent pest, destroys a wide range of wild and cultivated plants and agriculture crops. Devours both surface and subsurface vegetation at any growth stage. Crops mainly maize, potatoes, groundnuts, sugarcane, and melon were extremely damaged by Indian porcupine. During the winter, porcupines damage trees by chewing through the bark to eat the inner bark. Install barbed wire or other sharp materials on fences to discourage porcupines from climbing. Use live traps such as steel leghold trap, body gripping trap, box trap to capture porcupines for relocation. Porcupines are primarily nocturnal. Monitoring crops during the night may help detect and deter them. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more content like this.